science, social studies, and world around us. So let me project my screen. I hope the screen is visible to everyone. So I am sure you had a long and tiring day. So we will try to keep this session engaging and interactive, and we request you to actively participate in the session through the chat boxes. So before we dive right into the session, let's play a rapid fire round. So we will pose 3 questions to here, and we want you to answer them as quickly as possible. So let's start. The first question is, from which device have you logged in? So like I have logged in from my laptop. You can also name the device which you have logged in. So you can type in the responses in the chat box. Okay, Supraja ma'am says mobile, laptops. We are getting a lot of responses. Most of the people have joined from mobile. So that's great. We are getting a lot of responses. Thank you, educators. Thank you. So let's move on to the second question. How would you prefer your textbooks? Digital, printed, or blended? Okay, we are getting blended. Oh, most of the educators prefer blended, but we are also getting printed. Okay, that's great. That's great. We are getting a lot of responses about that you require blended product. So let's move on to the last question of this round. So I'm sure you must be now familiar with the Oxford Advantage books. So what we want you to write down a word that describes the Oxford Advantage product according to you. So you can write down the integrated, okay, contextual. It is a blended book, fabulous, advanced edition of future leaders. Thank you so much, Gayatri ma'am. Mulberry, good, attractive, easy to use, creative.
Real life and integrated also, some of the teachers have said.
Yes, interesting for students. Thank you, Kiran. Teacher friendly, education, amazing. Awesome, more practical, informative, blended book. So thank you so much, educators, for giving us these adjectives for the Oxford Advantage product. So without further ado, let us start with the session. So here are the points that we are going to discuss in the session. What is the Oxford Advantage product and what are the course components of social studies, science, and world around us? Why is the Oxford Advantage significant for facilitating science, social studies, and world around us? And how can the Oxford Advantage books for social studies, science, and world around us be implemented effectively in class? So here we will basically look at the features that we have provided in our Oxford Advantage books. Now, we have received multiple responses on the words that describe Oxford Advantage. But according to us, I think we can define it with 3 words. It is integrated. You got it definitely right. It follows a multidisciplinary approach. So here subjects are not taught in silos, but they follow a thematic approach. So the integrated approach is accomplished with the help of the thematic approach that we follow in the Oxford Advantage books. The last word is blended, that we provide both print and digital offerings in our product. Now, before we move on to the offerings that we provide in the Oxford Advantage product, here is another activity for you. So, what we want you to do is list any 5 things in the immediate world around you. So, they can be living, they can be non living. So, you have to identify any 5 things around you and list down in the chat box. So any 5 living or non-living things. Okay, so we are getting table, birds, human being, fan, door, trees, wall clock, television, trees, table, chair, tree, glass, cycle, cushion, fan, door, table, pen, buildings, sun, human being, building, notebook, table, fan, laptop, photo frame, sofa, table. That's great. We got so many responses. So now the next thing we want you to do is, can you categorize these things either as into the social world or natural world? Right? We can, because the living things are definitely a part of the natural world, and even the non-living things can be a part of both natural and social world. Like if you look at a table, it is a part of the social world because it is created by humans, but it is also a part of the natural world when we think of the materials that it is created from. So the environment includes elements of both natural and social world. And the Oxford Advantage helps us accomplish the exploration of these two worlds with the help of 2 options that it provides in its offering. So the first option is that we provide science and social studies for the exploration of these two worlds, natural and social. If you want to opt for a rigorous and subject specific approach to the subjects, to the exploration of these two worlds, you can opt for this option. Now here, for both science and social studies, for each grade we have 2 students books and 1 workbook. These are meant for the students, and there is 1 teacher's handbook that is meant for the teachers. Now on the screen, you can see the covers of the revised series. Now the artwork, if you can see the artwork on the covers, it's the same in all the covers. The only difference is the prominent color that you can see in the different colors. Moreover, you can also see that the mascots are different in different covers. Now, the second option is that we provide an interdisciplinary subject called World Around Us instead of Science and Social Studies. So, if you want to opt for a holistic and comprehensive view of the environment, you can opt for this option. Again, here we have 2 students' books and 1 workbook for each grade of World Around Us and 1 teacher's handbook. Now, here are the mascots in the revised series. Can you look at the mascots and name the mascot that is used for science, social studies, and world around us? You can type in the responses in the chat boxes. So I'll repeat the question. You have to look here on the screen and name the mascot that is used in science, social studies, and world around us books. Globe, yes. Yes, Globetrotter, Explorer, Globetrotter. Yes, so we are getting a lot of responses which says that Globetrotter is the mascot that we have used for science, social studies, and world around us. So you will see these mascots used extensively in our books. Now let me move on to the thematic approach that we follow in our science, social studies, and world around us books. So this time we have strengthened our thematic approach. But before I move on to how we have strengthened the thematic approach, what is the thematic approach that we have followed in our books. So this shows the theme structure that we have followed in Oxford Advantage preparatory grades. So in subjects English, mathematics, and world around us, we have 6 themes. They follow across each subject, across each grade. So the same theme follows in all these subjects. So in English, we have 6 themes. Similarly, in mathematics and world around us, we have 6 themes. However, in science and social studies, we have 5 themes. This is because natural world, that is nature at play, is more aligned with science, and our country is more aligned with social studies. So we have 5 themes each in science and social studies. Now, how is the thematic approach implemented in our Oxford Advantage books? So, for each theme, all the subjects will have stories, concepts, or topics related to that particular theme. So, for example, this screen shows the theme Earth and Sky. So, in English, we have a beautiful story about Anna and her father who are waiting outside to catch a glimpse of the falling star. So, they are talking about meteors here. In science, we are dealing with the concepts of solar system, planets, stars, shape of the earth, movements of the earth. In social studies, we have focused on the movements of the earth, and in mathematics, we have dealt with the concept of time, which is related to the movements of the earth. Now, what is happening here is the students are transitioning from one aspect of the theme to another across different subjects. So, as they are exposed to a same topic for a longer period of time, it helps in retention of these topics. Now, this is an example of how we have strengthened the subject integration or the thematic approach in our Oxford Advantage product. So, we have integrated the characters from English pieces in science and social studies. On the screen, you can see screenshots from different subjects from the theme Us and World of grade 5. So there is a story called Children of the Digital Age in which the main characters are Sonal, Kunal, and their grandmother. So the same characters travel across science and social studies. So this, build familiarity among different subjects, and the subjects are not isolated anymore. And this also helps the chapter, to make the chapter more engaging. So this enhances the learning experiences of the learner. Just as the characters travel from one subject, from English to the other subjects, similarly, the mascots also travel from one subject to the other. So the mascots serve as the visual representation of the subject integration across subjects. So, for example, if you look at the first screenshot, this screenshot is from science, and we are teaching the concept of tsunamis. So instead of directly stating the speed of tsunami waves, we have given a mathematical sum so that the children can calculate the speed and get an estimated idea of how fast the tsunamis travel. Similarly, the second screen, if you see the second screenshot, it is from social studies, and the idea is to help the students identify the importance of conservation of rainforest. So they have to look at the picture and create a story, right? So this is an English integrated task. So wherever you see the mascots in the books, you'll be able to recognize that these questions have been integrated with other subjects. Now, with this, I'll hand over to Kiran, who will take you through the common structure that we follow in science, social studies, and world around us books.
So, thank you, Aarti, and good evening, teachers. So, what I'll do now is that I'll walk you through the structure of Oxford Advantage Science, Social Studies, and World Around Us books. So as you open the book, you'll find some very interesting theme opening pages. In these opening pages, as you can see on the screen, there's some very beautiful artwork that we've provided, and these artworks are related to the themes. For example, on this particular on this particular page, we have provided a beautiful artwork related to the theme Earth and Sky. But before we move on, before I go on and tell you tell you something more about the feature of these theme opening pages and its importance, let us play a game that we have provided on this particular theme page. What I'll do now is that I'll read the activity that we have provided on this theme page, and we'll play a game based on it. I'm going to read the activity now, and I would request to all the teachers to please listen to this activity carefully, because based on this activity, we'll play the game. So it's a if then game. I'm reading the activity. I'm reading the instructions now. Play with your partner. It will be fun. Roll a dice one by one. Move as many steps as the dice indicates. Where you land, check the name it says. If it is a star, then take another turn. If it is a satellite, then you should skip the next turn. If it is a planet, then move ahead one step. But to finish the game, to enter and inspect. So, teachers, I'm going to roll the dice and let's see what number comes first. Rolling the dice now. Please look for the numbers. So the number that has come on the dice is number 4. So teachers here, will you please tell me where the students would land if they get number 4 on the dice? I would request you to please look carefully at the theme page and see where the students would land if they get number 4 on the dice. Please write your responses in the chat box. Aarti, would you help me tell the responses that teachers are typing?
Planet, Mercury, star, planet, Orion.
Okay.
Planet, star.
Okay.
Planet, star, 4.
Okay.
Orion.
Okay.
Planet.
Teachers, I would like to give you a hint here. Please count only the circles or the planets or the elements that have been given that have a labeling on it. This is a very important hint that I'm giving to you. Please count only the pictures that have labeling on it. So when you when you count 1, you will step on Jupiter. You will skip the next one because it doesn't have a labeling. Moving on, you'll count Mercury as 2. Then, according to this rule, the answer that we'll get is Moon.
So we are getting few responses which are saying Moon.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So if the students get number 4 on the dice, they would land on the satellite, that is Moon. Since we all know that Moon is a natural satellite, what is the next step that the students should do? As we have mentioned in the instruction, if it is a satellite, then the students are supposed to skip the next turn. So this is how this activity is to be played in the class. I would encourage all the teachers to please attempt these unplugged activities in the class and make your classroom experience fun for the students. The idea behind giving these unplugged activity is also that, as you all know, if then else statements are used as instructions in coding. So these coding activities or unplugged activities also form a basis of the computer programming for the students. So this was the idea that went behind creation of these theme opening pages. Moving on to the next feature. After the theme opening pages, you'll find the chapters. So each chapter begins with the chapter opening pages. As you can see, I've shared some of the screenshots of the chapter opening pages from different grades and subjects, that is social studies, science, and world around us. But before I move on and tell you some of the important features that we have shown on this theme or in these chapter opening pages, let me pose a question for you. So the question is, how do you begin a chapter? Or how do you think we should begin a chapter in the class? Please write your responses in the chat box. How do you think we should begin a chapter or any topic in the class for that matter?
Warm up. We are getting responses from Durga.
That was the right answer.
Motivation.
Yes.
A motivational
True.
quotes. Warm up.
Yeah.
Gayatri ma'am says we begin a chapter with the basic.
Yes.
With the motivation, introduction with one activity.
Yes.
So we are getting a lot of responses that says warm up.
Okay.
Building curiosity.
Bang on.
By connecting them with the environment.
Yes, true. Right. So this was the idea. These are, yeah, we have correctly pointed out the idea, or you have given the ideas that has that I think we should cover the begin a chapter in these many ways. So this is the idea that has gone behind the creation of chapter opening pages. Now let me show you what are the main features that we have shown in the chapter opening pages. So the first important feature that we have given in the chapter opening pages is the I wonder feature. I wonder is a very important section wherein we have given simple thought-provoking questions for the students. These questions are these questions are supposed to set the tone of the class and make the students curious for what they are about to learn in the chapter. Next is the I would feature. In the I would feature, we have listed the learning outcomes that the students will be able to achieve or should be able to achieve at the end of a particular chapter. The third and a very important feature is the I know feature. In this section, we have provided some activities, interesting warm-up activities, as you correctly pointed out, for the students. These activities will help you to assess the previous knowledge of the learners. And what this will do is this will also facilitate you in helping the students move from the known to the unknown territory of a topic that will be covered in the chapter. So this was all about the chapter opening pages. After the chapter opening pages will come the in-text pages. So please stay tuned with us. I'll be showing you some very engaging and interesting content that we have provided in the in-text pages. In the in-text pages this time, we have covered the content in a variety of ways. For example, stories. As you can see on this slide here, to teach the story or to teach the story of Less of the Earth, what we have done is we have taken an English character Dukhi, and what this character does is that he goes on a fun adventure to explore the center of the earth, that is the core of the earth, and he ends up having an avocado party. So this is an interesting fun story for the students that we've provided for the topic Layers of the Earth, and a very interesting example has been taken to cover this topic, which is the example of avocado. So this is a very engaging content that we've provided here for this particular topic. You'll find many more in the books. Then there's another way that we have presented the content is that by using the poems. For example, here we have introduced the topic of movements of the earth, that is rotation and revolution, through a poem called Dancing of Earth. Next, some more interesting features that you'll find in our in-text pages is games and infographics. This is to make the content interactive and engaging for the students. Let me show you some examples here. As you can see here, for the topic grid system, we have provided an interesting fun learning, an interesting game for the students. This game is very easy to implement in the class and you will not need any extra resources. This game can be played very well with the resources already available in the class. Then what you'll find in the in-text pages is some very interesting and relevant infographics. For example, in the topic road signs, a very relevant infographic has been provided. It is an interactive infographic for the students. And for the topic types of forests, again, a very beautiful infographic has been provided. So these are some of the ways, some interesting ways we have tried to cover the content in the in-text, main content in the in-text pages, to make classroom learning more fun, more engaging for the students. Then after the in-text pages, you'll find chapter ending features. In the chapter ending features, you'll first see there's words to know section. In this feature, as the heading clearly tells us, it is a glossary of difficult words covered in the chapter. Then there's let's recall section. In the let's recall section, important points of the chapter have been recapitulated. Then comes the let's practice section. In the let's practice section, you'll find some good questions with different levels of complexities covered. And then a very important feature that we've provided at the end of all the books, that is science, social studies, and world around us, is the icon section. This is a very important feature of the Oxford Advantage books. Here, we have provided self-assessment rubrics for the students. These rubrics have been provided for each learning outcome that is aligned with the chapter. So let me tell you more about the relevance of this icon section. As you can see on this screen, the learning outcomes listed in the icon section are mapped to the learning outcomes in the I would section. For example, as you can see, the first learning outcome is in the icon section is explain the importance of different places in a neighborhood. This learning outcome has been mapped with the learning outcome in the I would section, which is again explain the importance of different places in a neighborhood. So here, one question that might come to our mind is that how does the icon section help in the teaching learning process? This is a question I'm putting forward for you all. So I would request you to please answer, how does the icon section help in the teaching learning process? You can write your responses in the chat box or the comment section. How do you think the icon section would help in the teaching learning process? Do you think it would be helpful for you in any way?
So we are getting some responses. Students self-evaluation. Supraja ma'am says to self-assess.
Yes.
Surinda ma'am says self-evaluation.
Right, ma'am.
Self-assessment of child by creating good interaction between children and teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Assess the
You're
students.
right.
So we are getting a lot of responses that says self-evaluation.
Yes, ma'am. That was the idea behind giving this section. How this section helps you is that, for example, if you find most of the students have put a tick in the section, I can do it with help for a particular learning outcome, you'll find out that these many students are struggling with the achievement of this particular learning outcome. And what you can do is that you can reinforce or revise these topics, the relevant topics in the class, and help the students achieve these learning outcomes. So this is a very important section that we have provided at the end of the chapter. Please make most use of it. Then as you at the end of each theme, you'll find theme ending pages. As you can see, there's this theme ending pages. I'm showing you one example of a theme ending pages. In all the theme ending pages across all subjects, that is science, social studies, and world around us, you'll find life skills, activities, or questions. Life skills tasks and activities have been provided to develop these certain skills among the children, mostly 21st century skills. As we all know, 21st century skills are provided to help the learners resolve the issues or problems that they encounter most commonly in their daily lives. So this was the idea behind giving this feature. Then this another important feature that we have provided in the theme ending pages is the fun task section. In the fun task, again, you will find some very interesting, fun and engaging exercises and activities. This is common to all three subjects. These two features are common to all three subjects, that is science, social studies, and world around us. Then this particular feature, that is prayas, as you see on the screen in the second screenshot, this particular feature is specific to the social studies and world around the subject. In this feature, we have provided activities that have been mapped with the Sustainable Development Goals outlined by the United Nations to support or promote sustainable living all over the world. So this is a very important feature that we have provided and very much relevant in today's times for social studies and world around us students. Here, what you'll find is that in the theme opening pages and across chapters of all three books are some icons, that is 21st century skills icons and art integration. These icons will help you identify activities that have been mapped with these 21st century skills and art integrated activities. One more icon that you'll find across books wherever relevant is vocal for local. So this icon we have provided for activities wherever applicable is to promote or help the children or students appreciate the culture of India. So this was all about the theme ending pages. So these were the main features of the theme ending pages. And this is how our book ends. So before closing the structure of the structure that I just shared with you, a common structure that has been followed in social science, social studies, world around us, and science books is theme opening page. Theme opening page comes at the beginning of each book. Then we have chapter opening pages, which has been provided for all the chapters. After the chapter opening pages, you will see in-text pages. In-text pages have been provided for to cover the main content of the chapter. At the end of the in-text pages, you'll find chapter ending pages and then theme ending pages. Theme ending pages again have been provided at the end of each theme. This was all about the structure of the Oxford Advantage Science, Social Studies and World Around Us books. Now my colleague Aarti Malhotra will walk you through the in-text features of Oxford Advantage Science and World Around Us books. Over to you, Aarti.
Thank you, Kiran. I think it was very well explained. So, can I get a thumbs up if you were able to understand the common structure that was followed in science, world around us, and social studies? And if there is any query, you can type it in the chat box. So we are getting some responses. Oh, great. So Sharmila ma'am, Anna ma'am, Durga ma'am, can you type in your queries in the Q&A section? And we will get back to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let me now move on to the subject specific features. So first we will cover the subject specific features of science and world around us. So we have followed different, approaches in science and world around us and social studies. So this is the reason that we are covering them separately. So let me start with science and world around us. But before we do that, let me pose a question to all of you. How do most children learn about their surroundings? So you can write one way or more than one way. How do most children learn about their surroundings? So we are getting responses. Observation. Okay, by observing. Is there any other way that the children can learn about their surroundings other than observations? Exploration. Okay, we got a response. Exploration. Okay, by observing. By experiencing. Yes, we got other responses. Nature walk. By seeing the environment around us. Definitely. These are some of the ways that children learn about their surroundings. Observations and experiences. So, through their own observations and experiences, children learn about their surroundings. The second way is experiential learning. So, when they do any experiment or hands on activity, they learn more about the surroundings. And the last way is exploration. So, they explore the surroundings by themselves and they are able to grasp more about their surroundings. So, considering this, we have followed the inductive approach in our students' books. So, all the concepts, or most of the concepts in science and world around us, start with observations or experiments, after which the students arrive at some conclusion. So, here on the screen, you can see the topic of solutions in grade 5 science. Now, instead of directly stating what a solution is, we have started with an activity in which the children have to find out the soluble and insoluble substances. After they sort the soluble and insoluble substances, they have to identify those mixtures in which the constituents are indistinguishable. Using the results of this activity, they arrive at the definition of the solution. Right. But after that, it is important to apply the knowledge in real life. So we have given a real life application based question in which the children have to identify if oral rehydration salts form a solution with water. Now, we had just seen that there are three ways. Fairly, there are three ways that are important in the learning about the surroundings. So, based on these three methods, we have designed our features. So, the first feature is Wonder Wander. So, these are based on observations and experiences. So, for example, if for the topic of force of friction, we have provided an observation based task. So, here the children have to describe what happens when they stop pedaling a bicycle or when they let go of a moving toy car. So, instead of directly stating the force of friction, we have given a observation based question here. So, we recommend that you help the students attempt these questions before moving on to the concept, because it makes the concept more relatable and they are able to relate these observations to the scientific concepts. Now, here in science, we have provided the answers to most of the Wonder Wander sections in the answer key, but there are some open ended questions in which we suggest that you let the children answer them because they are observation based and they will be different for different students. So, before we move on to the next feature, let me again ask you a question. How would you explain to the students that air is everywhere? So, this is basically for the science teachers. So, how would you explain to the students that air is everywhere? So, you can type in the responses in the chat box.
Observing.
By observing. Experiment, blowing balloons, blowing the balloon, feeling the wind. By experiments, breathe in and breathe out, feeling, movement of the trees. By activity, yes. So we are getting a lot of responses on breathing and experiments. You're definitely correct. So we can show it with a very simple experiment. So all we need is a cup. So here I have placed a newspaper. Are you able to see the screen? I hope you're able to see the screen. So this is a dry newspaper here. So what I'm going to do is, I hope you are able to see the bowl here. So this is a bowl of water. Just let me adjust my screen so that you're able to see the bowl. Yeah. So all we have to do is turn it upside down and place this glass in water. Do you think the newspaper will get wet? So do you think the newspaper inside the glass will get wet? No. So we are getting a lot of responses. No. Exactly. The newspaper will not get wet. So let me take out the glass. Let me take out the newspaper. So here the newspaper it's dry. So I hope it's visible, it's dry. So with this simple experiment and simple resources, we can show that air is everywhere. So this is where the second feature of our books comes into picture. Let's investigate. Now there are two ways to perform this experiment. One is to simply demonstrate in the class, but there is another way that the students can perform this experiment in groups, right? And this is what we would recommend, that the children perform these experiments. Demonstration is a very good way, but we recommend that the students perform these experiments in class in groups so that they are able to do these activities hands on. The second point that I want to point out here is that it is the debriefing is required after the completion of every experiment. For example, it was very easy for you to guess that the newspaper will not get wet, but it might not be easy for the students to guess why the newspaper did not get wet, right? So we have to I guess we have to debrief the students with right questions so that they are able to arrive at the conclusion why the newspaper did not get wet. Now let me move on to the next experiment, next feature, which is let's explore. So these include the exploration activities. So here these cannot be directly answered by observations. So this is why the students have to explore these. So these can be assigned, most of these activities can be assigned as home fun, where the children can take the help of their elders or the internet to perform these activities. And we suggest that the students perform these activities on their own because it will help them to retain the concept. So you can see the icons here, two icons here. The first one is vocal for local. So this, wherever you see this icon, that means the task is integrated with uh, the task will promote the appreciation of local culture of India. If you see the second icon anywhere, that means that the task is integrated with sports, and it promotes physical and mental well-being of the learners. Now, this is just a comic relief to the concept. So here you can see that the revolution of the earth is is taught with the help of a comic strip. So it makes the concept engaging and humor. Adds humor to the concept. We have also provided case studies in our World Around Us and science books. So here on the screen, you can see that the problems faced by farmers have been delivered in the form of a case study. So instead of directly mentioning the problems that are faced by farmers in India, we have presented a case study which the students can analyze. It will build critical thinking, and they will also be able to relate it to how it will affect them. So it makes uh, the scenario more relatable. Now this is a feature that we have introduced in the science workbooks this year: investigators journey. Before I explain this feature, let me pose a question. Suppose your mobile phone is not working. How would you determine the fault? So if your mobile phone suddenly stops, charging, how would you find where the fault is? Let me repeat the question. So if your mobile phone is not charging, how would you determine the fault? So let's say your mobile phone stops charging. How would you find out the fault? By applying charging, reboot. We will check with another cable, definitely. By switching off and on. By using tester, restart. Charger may be faulty. Definitely check socket or charger. Yes. So what we are going to do is we are going to hypothesize. So let's say we start with that the socket is not working. This is the reason my mobile phone is not charging. Right. So I will test the socket with another appliance. If the appliance is not working, that means my socket is not working, right? But if the appliance is working, that means my socket is fine. I will move on to the next item and check, like the charger. So I will charge another phone with the adapter and check if my adapter is damaged or fine. And similarly, I will move on to the phone. So this is how I will find and determine where the fault is. So, did you employ this method while finding out the fault in the charging of the phone? So, you observed, right? You observed that your phone is not charging. You raised a question where the fault is. Then you formed a hypothesis that the charger is not working, the socket is not working. Then you performed an investigation, right? And then you arrived at the analysis. If the socket is not working, you have arrived at the conclusion. If it is not, you form another hypothesis that there may be a problem with the charger or the phone. So this is the scientific method. So we employ scientific method in our day-to-day lives, right? In solving the problems in our day-to-day lives. So do you see the importance of introducing students to this method from the early grades? So, this is the reason that we have introduced scientific studies called Investigator's Journey in the science workbooks. So, each chapter in science workbooks end with the investigator's journey. So, as the students are quite young, right, this is why we have provided them with a structured scientific study. So, all these steps have been mentioned here so that we can guide the children to perform these scientific study. Now let us perform this scientific study so that we can see how these can be implemented in the class. I'm not sure if you're able to see the text, so I'll read it out for you. So the first step is state your question. Because this is a structured scientific study, we have posed the question for the students. So let me read out the question. How does camouflage affect the chances of detecting the presence of an animal? So this is the question, right? Then the second step is make a prediction. So can you write in the responses? You have to make a prediction. What happens to the chances of detecting the presence of an animal when they camouflage? Would it decrease or would it increase? So let me repeat the question. So if an animal camouflage, would it increase its chances of detecting the presence of an animal or decrease the chances of the detecting the presence of an animal? Decrease. So we are getting the responses decrease. Okay, decrease. We can't do. Okay, decrease. So we are getting some responses that says increase. So let us now check if it actually decreases the chances of detecting the presence of the animal or increases it. So this is the third step of the scientific method, that is experimentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present a sheet of paper on which there are circles of two different colors. So you have to count the number of circles of both the colors, but the catch is that you have to count them in 10 seconds. Okay, are you ready? So here, your time starts now.
Stop.
Okay, so let me wait for the responses. So 19 is it for green or is it for orange? So there are two circles. So I'm getting a lot of responses with the numbers. Could you please also type in the color along with the number? 19 for green, okay, 20 orange, 19 blue, 18 green. Okay, so we are getting a lot of responses. That says 19 is for green. So I'm giving more time so that you can count it even now. Okay, 19 for green. Can you count orange circles?
Most of the teachers are saying 20 for orange.
Okay. Okay. So the correct answer was that green, there are 19 circles of greens and 16 circles of orange. So let me move on to the fourth step of the scientific method where the children have to record and analyze. So in the table, if you can see the table on the second screenshot, here the students have to record the number of red circle of the two different circles of two different colors. Now, after recording their observations, it is important that the children are able to analyze those observations. So, you can help them analyze those observations with the help of questions that are given in step 4. So, let me read out the questions. Which colored circles were difficult to detect? Could you please type in your responses? Which colored circles were difficult to detect? So, was it orange or was it green? Orange. Orange. Okay, so we are getting a lot of responses that says orange. Yes, and can you say why? Why do you think so? Why do you think that it was difficult to detect orange circles? So why is it difficult to detect the orange circles? Same background. Yes, it get mixed with the background. Due to the background, yes. So those camouflaged, because these matched the background, they camouflaged with the background. It was difficult to detect the orange circles. This leads us to the last step of the scientific method, which is draw conclusions. So here the students have to write in the conclusions. So they have to write if their prediction was correct or incorrect. So it will depend on the it will be different for different students depending on their predictions. It takes one step further to say how does camouflage help the following animals. So after checking their prediction, after verifying their prediction, students have to answer if how the camouflage helps the animals that are predators or prey animals, right? So this is how we can you can implement these scientific studies in the classroom. On the right hand side, you'll be able to see a section called Explore More. So these are some open ended scientific studies where the children can frame their own questions. So we are not helping them with framing a question, they can think of their own questions and formulate a scientific study on the same. This is it with the features of science and world around us. With this, I hand over the stage back to Kiran. Over to you, Kiran.
Thank you, Aarti. Moving on to the specific features of Oxford Advantage Social Studies books, teachers. Before I share some of the very important features and relevant features that we have provided in Social Studies books, I would like to pose a question for you. So, the question is, how can we make social studies concepts more interesting or engaging, for that matter, for students? Teachers, please write your responses in the chat box. How do you think we can make social studies concepts more interesting for the students? Aarti would be sharing. Aarti, will you please share the responses with me?
So I think there is a lag here.
Okay.
We are still waiting for the responses. Showing the models, exploring by telling stories.
Yes.
Using globes and atlas.
True. Right. Atlas is a very important aspect of this subject.
By activity, by playing games, through videos, by stories.
Yes.
Doing activities, involve them in discussions.
Yes. That's right, ma'am. Yeah, storytelling.
Taking examples from daily life.
Yes.
Correlate with life skills, using maps, games, by mind maps.
Yes. So thank you, teachers. You have correctly outlined some of the important and interest. You have correctly given us some basic ideas for the ways in which we can make social studies concepts more interesting and engaging for the students. You are very right there, and this is the idea that went behind the creation of providing these features in this subject. So now what I'll do is that I'll share these features. I'll share some of the important features that we've provided in this book one by one. As you all correctly pointed out, one of the most important ways that the students learn or students are able to grasp a social studies topic is through observations. For this particular, in order to teach the content from this particular perspective, what we have done is that we have provided wonder section for the students. In the books, you will find different varieties of wonder questions or activities. I'll show you one or two examples for this. One is one basic question that will come to our mind is that the ways in which the students observe in general, in real life. So one of the ways in which students observe is by observing the surroundings or pictures. So these are some of the ways in students can observe and analyze a topic and develop a deeper understanding of that particular topic. So here, as you can see on the screen, we have given a wonder section in which in the topic of early humans. Here, as you can see, there's a picture of early human doing different kinds of activities like cooking food on fire, and in the background you'll also find pictures of modern inventions, that is aeroplanes and car. So what is this? What does this picture tell? So here, for to develop a critical understanding and observation skill among the students, what we have done is that we are asking students some of the questions based on the inductive approach. So based on the picture, students will answer some of these some questions, and they will come, and this will help them come to a conclusion or an understanding as to how the life was different, in the times of early humans and the present times. So this is one of the examples of wonder section that we have provided, which is observation based. Then there's one more example of observation-based activity there that we have provided in this section. You'll find many more across the book and across all three grades 3 to 5. So one of the ways, another way in which we are asking students to observe and share the experiences is that we are asking them to observe the voter ID cards of the family members, look at the details, and discuss with the family members how these voter ID cards are relevant when the time of election, when they go for voting. So these are some of the examples that of the Wonder section, an important feature that we have provided this time in our revised edition. Here, I would like to share an important point with you is that for the in-text questions or the questions that we have provided in the in-text pages, we have not provided the answers for the students. The reason behind this is that through these in-text questions or activities, we want to encourage an independent thinking and observation based skills or critical thinking skills among the students. What this does is that this will what the idea behind this is that to make the students observe and derive the answers based on their observations, which is a very important aspect of the social studies subject. And also that the answers of the individual students will differ from will always differ. There will never be a same answer for a particular question in these in-text questions. Then another way that we can have this to make the content engaging for the students is exploration. So how can we make the students explore a particular topic? So here, let me ask you a question. Teachers, I'm posing a question here for you. What are the different ways in which the students can explore their surroundings? This, as we all know, is a very important aspect for learning a topic provided in the social studies subject. Exploration is a very important aspect for learning any topic in the social studies subject, because based on this exploration, they develop a deeper understanding of any topic.
So we are getting some responses now. Observing practical projects,
Yes,
observation, talking
yes,
with others, doing
yes,
practical,
yes,
nature walk, practical project,
yes, ma'am.
ask elders, observe surroundings, communication,
Yes.
projects by observing.
Yes, ma'am, you have correctly pointed out the answers that is very much relevant for the social studies students. Here, from this perspective, what we have done is that we have provided a range of activities in the Let's Explore feature of our books. The different ways in which we can have the learners explore the surroundings is observation based, as we discussed just now. So one of the ways in which we are asking the students to explore is based on picture-based activities or questions, as you can see in the first screenshot. Then there's another way we can have the students explore their surroundings is by posing reasoning based questions to them. For example, here we are asking students to find out what life jackets are and why they are worn while traveling by water. So here we are asking students to find information based on a particular topic which have been covered in the class. These are reasoning based questions for the students. Please encourage students to find out information for these activities or questions, and encourage them to share their findings in the class. Next, what we have done is that in order to help the students explore their surroundings and explore the surroundings and develop a deeper understanding of some of the topics, some of the very important topics of social studies, is that we have provided content based on the tradition or culture of India. For example, we are asking students to look around in their home and find woven items like baskets, mats, or clothes, and share the findings with the class. So this not only encourages awareness or appreciation of cultural heritage or natural heritage of India, this also encourages students to develop a deeper understanding of the topic. And a very important aspect of the social studies of these types of activities is to make the students appreciate their culture and tradition. So these were some of the examples. You'll find many more in the books. Next, a very important aspect of this subject, that is social studies, is real life application of the topics covered in the chapter. Without real life application of the topics, as you pointed out, as you suggested in your chat boxes just now, is very much important for the students. So, from this perspective, what we have done is that we have provided different types of activities for the students. Since I wanted to ask you a question here, which is, do you agree that it is important to apply our learnings in real life? I'm not going to ask this question again because you've already answered it when I asked you earlier. You suggested, many of you suggested that real life application or experiences and observations are very important aspects of learning in this particular subject. So from this perspective, what we have done is that we have provided a range of activities in the in-text pages. For example, you can hold a mini election in class to choose a class representative. This particular activity has been provided in the topic for election. Then there's another interesting activity that we have given is in the chapter of seasons, where students have to name a particular season, write the name of a particular season, and they have to share the activities that they like or the activities that are difficult for a particular season. So these are some examples of real life application and experiential based learning, which is very much relevant, as we all know, to the learning of concepts in this subject. Moving on to another feature of social studies is, did you know? As you all know, as you can see, as the name suggests, here in this feature we have provided some interesting snippets of information related to a particular topic. Let me show you some examples of did you of in the some examples that we have provided in the did you know section. For example, in the chapter of transport and communication, here we are informing students, or we've provided an interesting information to the students in the context of Meghalaya. Here as you can see in the picture, there's a picture of a living root bridge, which can be found only in Meghalaya, which is actually the shaping of roots of rubber trees by the local tribes. Yes, you are right. These roots have actually been shaped by the local tribes in over many years. So this is a very interesting information for these students for the topic transport and communication. Please encourage students to go through these did you know snippets. Then in the history chapter, we have provided another interesting information, which is on the Battle of Plasse. Here, we have provided information on why is the Battle of Plasse named so. Battle of Plasse has been named so as we have shared in this feature is Plasse is a town in West Bengal, and Plasse also comes from a word plashi. As many, I'm not sure, but I think many of the teachers would know that if you can see from in the pictures, plashi is a name of a tree, and it is also called the flame of the forest. This plashi tree is very commonly found in Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha, and this tree is very much relevant to the culture of these particular states. This particular tree is also found in other states, not this, but these are native to these states, and it has many medicinal uses. So these were some of the examples of did you know feature. Then another and very interesting feature that we've provided in this edition is the comic adventures. In the comic adventures, we have provided some very interesting comic strips based on particular topics. These comic strips will not only lighten the tone will not only lighten the mood of the students, but it will also make learning fun and develop a deeper understanding of the concepts covered in the chapter. For example, here there's a comic adventure or a comic strip that we've provided on the story of Akbar and Birbal. Here, Arbal wants to have some new ministers who can help him in making new wise decisions. So he asks Birbal to suggest him some ideas. So what Birbal does is that Birbal suggests Akbar to let the people choose them. So what Akbar does is that he conducts election for this. So this Akbar and Birbal story has been provided in the chapter elections to not only just lighten the tone of the chapter but also introduce the topic of elections. Then there's another comic strip that we have provided. I'll show you. There's just two examples that I've shown here. You'll find many more. Then there's another example of a comic strip that I'm showing you here. This comic strip is on the topic of global warming, which, as we know, the topic of global warming, though is very much relevant in the present time, is a bit difficult for the students of grades 3 to 5. That is why we have given it in the form of a comic strip, and we have provided it in a very easy, and we have covered the content in a very easy and subtle way. So these were some examples of the comic adventures. I would advise you all to please read out these comic strips in the class and have fun. What you can do is that you can also organize role play activities based on these comic strips and make the classroom learning more fun for the students. Then this map work, when I asked you, when I posed a question for you, as in how we can make the social studies subject more interesting or engaging for the students, some of you suggested is maps. Yes, I agree with you. Maps is a very relevant topic. Reading maps is a skill that needs to be developed among the students. It is a very relevant skill not only for students but for all of us. That is why we have provided map work throughout our books. But before that, before I show you the kind of map work, kind of questions that we've provided in this particular feature, let me ask you a question. I'm going to read the question for you. Do you think most students in your class find map reading easy or difficult? Do you think most students in your class find map reading easy or difficult? Please write your responses.
So we are getting some responses. Easy. It is easy.
Okay.
So we're still waiting for more responses.
Okay. It's a very
Not
good thing.
easy, difficult, easy,
Okay.
difficult,
Yeah.
difficult, easy, difficult.
So we are receiving mixed response here. Some of the teachers are saying that it's easy for some of the students. Some of the teachers are saying it's difficult, which is very much true for this particular reason. But what we need to keep in mind is that we need to make this this map reading. We need to develop map reading skill among all the students. All the students should find it easier to read maps and implement it in their real lives. For this very reason, what we have done this time is that we have provided map questions at the end of the chapter by the name of the feature map work, as you can see in the second screenshot. And what more we have done is that we've provided different types of map activities in the in-text pages as well. The reason behind this is that, as I already pointed out, reading map is a very important skill that should be taught to the students. And the how can we make it easier? The easiest way to, or the most effective way to make map reading easier for the students or develop map reading skills among the students is to make them read maps along with the topics in the class itself and make them practice as much as possible. We can give them map questions as homework, which is fine. But at home they may or may not struggle with the questions, but if you do it in the class, map work as homework is actually important. That is why we have given it at the end of the chapter. You can do it in the class if you have time available for you, in the enough time available in the class, or you can also give it as homework. But what we have done is that we have integrated map questions along with the topic. So for reading a particular topic, for example, the topic of continents and oceans, or neighborhood, the topic of map, sketch, and plans, or minerals and industries. These are some of the topics that I'm sharing with you here. For these topics and many more topics in the social studies subjects, wherever relevant, we have provided in-text questions based on maps. I would request you to please cover these in the class, as in the class itself, while teaching the particular topic, and make them practice more and more. Next is the this was all about the specific features of social studies subjects student books. Now let me tell you about some of the important features that we have given in the social studies workbooks. So as you can see on the screen, this time what we have done is that for history specific chapters, we have provided timelines. Timelines, as we all know, would help the students outline important events in the covered in the chapter. And for rest of the chapters which are not history specific, we have provided concept maps. So what does concept map? How does concept map help the students? Concept maps would help the student visually summarize key points of the chapter. So this was the idea behind giving these features. This is a new features that we've provided this time in our revised edition. Next, let me walk you through the common feature of the Oxford Advantage Science, Social Studies, and World Around Us books. So at the end of each worksheet in all these three books, what you'll find is that is the icon section. In the icon section, at the end of each worksheet, we have listed the learning outcomes specific to that particular worksheet. And there's another section by the name of My Teacher's Remarks. This feature is again very important for the teachers, because this is a space specifically for you to give remarks to the students based on their answers provided in the worksheet. Then in the workbooks, you'll also find across in different worksheets, you'll find this English mascot, which will help you identify that these particular worksheets or questions or activities have been integrated with English. Similarly, we have provided maths integrated activities in the worksheet, which you'll be able to identify through maths mascot, as you can see in the second screenshot. This was all about the structure, features of social studies, social studies, science, and world around us books, grades 3 to 5. Now, what I'll do is that I'll walk you through the Oxford Advantage Science, Social Studies, World Around Us Teachers' Handbooks. So what we have done is that in the handbook, in the teacher's handbook, there's one page dedicated completely for the teaching strategies that you can use to facilitate effective learning experiences for students. Some of the there are many teaching strategies that we have listed on this page, but I'll read out only some of the activities to just bring them to your attention. These are the teaching strategies that you can use in class to facilitate the teaching learning process. For example, magnet summary, role play, read and discuss, KWL, brainstorming, buddy editing, gallery walk, think, pair, and share. There's these we have not just listed the names of these teaching strategies. We have also provided a brief explanation of these teaching strategies on this particular page. Next is the themes overview, which is new, which is something that we've provided in this time in our teachers' handbooks. So themes overview is in the themes overview. What we have done is that we have provided chapter-wise brief summary of Part A and Part B students' books. Next comes the chapter plan. So all the chapters that have been provided in a particular book begins with a chapter plan. Each chapter plan includes a chapter plan which gives a brief overview of the task aligned for the chapter. Here you will find the name of the activity that has to be covered on that particular day or in that particular lesson, and the resources required for the implementation of a particular activity, and homework task assigned for the day, which is optional and relevant as per the requirement of that particular lesson plan. After the chapter plan, you'll find lesson plans. You'll find a number of lesson plans that have been provided in that particular chapter. But let me walk you through the common structure that we have followed in all the lesson plans. So, in each lesson plan, you'll see that the lesson plan has been divided in two sections. First is metadata section. In the metadata section, you will find some important information, that is duration, concept related to the chapter that has to be covered on that particular day or on that in that particular lesson plan, skills that the students will acquire at the end of this lesson plan, learning outcomes aligned with that particular lesson plan, and competencies and curricular goals again aligned with that particular lesson plan or the topic to be covered on that particular day. Then the next and the most important section is the teaching and learning plan. This is the section where we have provided a detailed instruction for you to make the best use of student books and workbooks, and how to implement these in the class effectively. So again, this second section has again been divided into different sections. First is the warm-up section. In the warm-up section, you can ask question. You can ask some curiosity-based questions to set the tone of the chapter. What you can do here is that you can also recapitulate what was covered in the last class. For example, if you have asked the students to share the experiences of the or observations based on the activities, in case there were activities provided in the last class in the homework section. For example, in the homework section in the last class, if you had provided worksheets, so you can discuss the questions of that particular worksheet in this warm-up section. Or if it's a beginning of a chapter or it's a first lesson plan, what you can do is that you can conduct unplugged activities provided in the theme opening pages. Or if it's if you're beginning a chapter, we have already shared the main features of the chapter opening pages, that is I would, I know, and the I know sections, which is something that you can cover in this particular section. In the warm-up section, after the warm-up section comes the procedure. In the procedure section, what has been done, what we have provided is that we have provided a comprehensive, stepwise, detailed instruction for you to follow for a particular activity that is some highlight of that particular day or the lesson plan related to a particular topic. So here, as you can see, we have provided a detailed stepwise instruction for you. You can follow the instructions and conduct the activity provided in that particular lesson plan, which is the main part, which covers the main part or the main content of the topic. Then comes the wrap-up section. In the wrap-up section is basically, as the name suggests, it's about concluding a lesson plan or concluding a topic. What you can do here, what we have provided is that idea behind giving this particular section was to check the understanding of the students based on what was covered on that particular day or based on the topic covered on that particular day. You can ask here check for understanding questions, or you can revise a worksheet based on the topic that was covered on that particular day. For example, as you can see on the screen, we have discuss the question given in worksheet 2, which is related to the topic that was to be covered in this lesson plan. The next section is Fun at Home, which is again an optional section because it has been provided wherever relevant to a particular lesson plan. Here we have given, here what you can do is that you can assign students some of the activities like which have been provided in Wonder or Let's Explore section, which are mostly or basically homework based activities, for because these activities are communication based activities, observation based activities, or hands on activities that can be only done in the at home or in the home surroundings. So other than that, all the activities that can be covered in the class or easily covered in the class, we have provided those activities, we have covered those activities in the procedure section. After that, what we have done is that there is a resources required for next section. Here you'll find wherever relevant, there are extra resources have been listed here, which you'll need or you might need for the next lesson plan. One thing to be noted is here, as you can see in the three sections, that is warm up, procedure, and wrap up, is that there's another heading by the name resources required. Resources required is a heading wherein we have listed the resources that you'll need for that particular section. It is just to make your teaching process easier. It will help you to just, if you just look at the resources listed in that particular heading, you will get an idea of the resources that you'll need. For example, you might need students book, part A, or workbook, or some extra resources if required, you'll find it mentioned in this particular section. Then there's another a very important feature that you'll find in the main content or the teaching learning plan of the lesson plans across teachers handbooks is common errors. In the common errors, what you will find is that you'll find here some of the common mistakes. As being teachers, you all know that students usually make mistakes in some of the topics which are commonly made mistakes. What we have done is to make it the teaching learning process easier for you. We have listed some of the common errors that students usually make in some particular topics. The next feature is Teach with Excellence. As in the beginning of the walkthrough of Teacher's Handbook, I showed you a page dedicated to teaching strategies for you. For example, cold call is a teaching strategies. These strategies have been derived from that particular page. These have been listed there. But what we have done is that we have listed them specifically in these particular sections wherever relevant to make it easier for you. You can go through these teaching strategies and you can implement them in the class while conducting these particular activities. For example, in the procedure section, you can use this teaching strategy of cold call. Similarly, in other lesson plans, you'll find different teaching strategies. So please make the best use of it. Then comes the answer keys. The teacher's handbook ends with the answer keys of students' books and workbooks. Here you'll find first the answer key of student books and then the answer key of the workbooks. So this is how the teacher handbooks end. Again, I would like to point out here that or bring to your notice that the open-ended questions or the in-text questions that we've provided in the book, the answers have not been provided for those particular questions, keeping in mind that those are open-ended questions. And the idea behind it was to have, and since the responses of the students will always differ for these particular questions, and we encourage students to develop independent thinking, critical thinking, observation based skills among the students. We have the purpose was behind not giving the answers was this. And this will I would request you to please encourage students, as many students as possible, to share their responses in the class for these in-text questions, which would also help you gather an insight on their understanding of a particular topic or their surroundings. These in-text questions have also been given to develop a deeper understanding of the topics covered in the subject. So this was all about the today's webinar. This was all that we had to share. I hope you will have fun teaching these subjects in the class and will enjoy it. the social science, social studies, science, and world around us. Please have fun with the students and make the best use of the Oxford Advantage products. Thank you.
Thanks, Kiran. Uh, Aarti, is that all? Can we conclude?
Yes, Deepa.
All right, great. Thank you, Kiran and Aarti, for taking teachers through the entire, webinar and all three subjects. I think it was quite interesting, and I'm hoping that all teachers, will take complete advantage from this session. And thank you all, teachers, those who have joined today. Thanks for your time and your patience, that you kind of, kept logged in for long time. It's been almost 1 hour and 40 minutes. So I understand that it was a long time and you must have been tired also after a long day, but it was worth it. I'm sure you will take some best practices from here. You must have picked up some, better understanding about the product and the objectives behind the questions that we have put in, and some more things along the way, as Kiran and Aarti were explaining. So it was lovely interacting with you. I didn't see many questions today, but I hope, which tells me clearly that pretty much things are very clear. We will meet you again on Monday, and then in follow-up session of LMS, which is on 28th. I request all the teachers to please participate in 28th session also, which is on digital, which is on LMS usage, how to use that LMS, how to create test, etc. We will walk you through all those functionalities once again in detail. So please do log in that session as well. I'm sure you will receive your feedback form, and basis your attendance capturing, you will be given your certificates as well. So thank you. Thank you once again, and have a very good evening, and spend your rest of the day nicely with your family. Have a great evening, I would say, and good night. See you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Deepa. Thank you, Aarti, and thank you, Kiran, and thank you all teachers for being there till the end. There's, huge attendance still there. Teachers, I will end the webinar now, and the moment we end the webinar, you will receive a feedback form. Kindly fill in the feedback form, and like how Deepa said, that depending upon the time duration you have attended today's session, you will be getting your certificate on the same email. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.